Hey guys, how you doing? This is Lee, the engineer, with another episode of the Steam Squad Show. Today we're going to learn about LED lights. In our last class, we talked about how to make our digital pin 13 built-in light blink. And I know you're probably wondering, can I make other things blink? Of course you can. So we're going to actually do a real light this time and make that blink. But as always, if you're learning from our videos, which we hope you are, feel free to like and subscribe to our videos. We could really use the engagement. We really do appreciate that. But now let's get to the class. Let's get started. First of all, let's give a shout out to Rockstar Robotics Team 6473. They're following along on these lessons, learning about Arduinos and LED lights and robotics and stuff like that. And you guys are doing so amazing that I have to make more videos. And that's super awesome. And I just wanted to let you know I'm really proud of you guys. Keep up the good work. Rock on. All right, so let's talk about LED lights. LED lights, LED stands for light emitting diode. So if you ever wonder what that stands for, that's what it stands for. There's a couple things that you need to know about LED lights when you're working with them. Number one, if you notice the LEDs, I'm pointing to one right now, it's a little red one right here. You'll notice that the two legs under the light, one is longer than the other, and there's a reason for that. So the longer one is called the anode, and the shorter one is called the cathode. All right. Again, there's a reason for this. So when you're connecting an LED to an electrical power source, okay, you want to make sure that your anode, which is the longer piece, is connected to the positive side of your power. So if you ever look at a battery, you'll see that the battery maybe has a plus on one side and a negative on the other. The anode needs to be connected to the positive side of the battery. And then the shorter side, the cathode, is connected to the negative side. Okay? If you connect it the opposite way, the light is not going to work because diodes need to have the current going in one direction, and that's a specific thing for diodes. All right. The other thing that you need to know about LED lights is that they can only have a certain amount of current that goes through the LED. Current has to do with how many electrons are going through something in a particular time. So it's kind of hard to describe. So I'm gonna try and describe it in a certain way. So I have some water here, right? So I could drink this water. I mean, you know, it's not really a big deal. But let's see how long it takes for me to drink this water. Okay, hold on a second. Refreshing. All right, so it took me about like 5 seconds, right? Five seconds ish for me to drink that water. So that was about the amount of time that I could drink the water. Now let's replace the water with electrons, right? What if someone said, "Hey Lee, can you drink this in 1 second?" I probably couldn't. So what would happen if I tried to drink the electrons in here in 1 second? What would happen? Probably have water all over me and everything, and I probably start choking and things like that. I can't really do it. Same thing with LED lights, right? So you can only have a certain amount of current going through the LED light, or it'll basically kind of explode and burn out. So that's a very important thing to know about LED lights. So we are now going to try to connect the LED light to the Arduino. So I have a little diagram here, and I'm going to show you. You see here, there's a LED light. It's red, right? And then we have our Arduino. That looks familiar, right? And here's our Arduino. And now we're going to connect the leads, which are the two legs, to the Arduino. So we're going to connect the cathode. Well, wait a minute. Where do I connect it? So here's the thing about. So let's look at the Arduino for a second. Remember when I said that the LED built-in is pin 13? So you'll notice on here there's numbers and there's a 13 on there. So that's pin 13. So when we're talking about positive and negative and things like that, the pin numbers are the positives. All right. Well, what's the negative? Like if you look at the Arduino, you'll see something that says GND, and GND stands for ground. And I mean, we won't get too much into it, but basically it means that the electrons need a place to go that is like essentially back to the earth kind of thing. But for our purposes, ground is going to equal the negative side of our power source. So we are going to connect our LED light. We're going to take our anode, which is the longer side, and we're going to connect that to pin 13. And then we are going to take our cathode and connect that to ground, which is that negative, right? So we're going to connect that down here, and I hope you can see all this right here. All right, and then we are going to run the Arduino. Now, if we were using the Arduino program, this would be that little arrow thing, but in here we're going to just press start simulation. And there we go. It starts to blink. Yay! But wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I see a little exclamation point. I wonder what the exclamation point means. So let's click that. And the exclamation point is really basically saying what we talked about earlier. The exclamation is saying that only a certain amount of current can go through an LED light. And generally, if you connect it to any other pin besides pin 13, it would not work, okay? It'll actually kind of explode and kind of burn up and stuff like that. And actually, you won't be able to use your LED anymore. So pin 13 has an internal resistor that will limit the amount of current that is in there. And that's probably something that we should talk about right now as well. So we're going to start the simulation here. So to use a LED light in the Arduino and to limit the amount of current that is going into the LED, you need something called a resistor. And this is a resistor right here. If you see this right here, it's a little brown thing. It looks kind of like a dog bone or something like that with little stripes on it. All right. So if you look at my camera, this is what the resistor actually looks like in real life. It's so itty bitty, right? And there's different sizes and different ones based on how much resistance you need. But resistors are used to control the amount of current that goes into any electrical object. But for this particular situation, we are connecting it to pin 13. So we're going to do this now in real life. Let's go do it. Let's go do it in real life. All right. So now you're going to look at the real camera. So I'm going to take my LED light, and if you see on here, we are going to connect it to pin 13. So I'm going to take the longer side and connect it to pin 13. It is hard to see this because it's so small. But so give me a second. I'm going to look at it from my end here. I'm old, y'all. I can't see, so I gotta do it this way. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna connect the longer piece to pin 13, and oh wait a minute. Let's do this. Let's be a little fancy. I have a little blue light here. See, I'm gonna do the blue light. So I'm going to connect the longer side to 13 and the shorter side, which is the cathode, to the ground. All right, so now this is connected, and let's see what happens when I connect the Arduino. And remember, it still has its old program in there, that blink program. Whoa, look at that. It's blinking now. That's just it turning on. But now it's blinking. Oh, so remember that program that we had in there? It's now blinking for pin 13. Now, if we were to connect this to another pin, it would not work because we didn't program it for that. But in our next class, we're going to talk about how to use other pins, okay? But congratulations, if you got this far, you actually used the real LED light on the Arduino. In our next lesson, we are going to talk about how to use more than one light, and we're going to talk about how to use the Arduino without using the Arduino. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't. But you don't necessarily have to have your Arduino with you. You can actually do it on another program. And we're going to talk about that in our next class. But for today, no challenge. I think you did well enough today. All right. If you did this and it worked, cool. Congratulations. In our next one, we're going to talk a little bit about how to do more than one light on your Arduino. So until then, we're going to say keep steaming, and you guys have a great day. Rock on.